Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to Max Potential Coaching. For today's video, we're going to cover reasons why people seek out coaching. Now, just from the jump, there are numerous reasons why people can seek out coaching. I will not be able to address every single one of them. So for this video, I'm going to talk about the most common reasons that people seek out coaching. And I'll share a slide with you that highlights the top 9 reasons that I've come across, not only in my anecdotal experience, but also in talking with other coaches and just additional research that I've done. So for starters, people seek out coaching because there is a problem. Coaching at its core is passive problem solving. And people come to you because they have a problem that they want to solve. That problem can vary based on the reasons that they need help. So I will talk through each one of the major reasons that people seek out coaching that I have identified thus far. If I don't cover something that you think should be covered, leave a comment. Let me know what you think that reason should be. If you have a disagreement with something that I have posted here, I'd love to hear about that as well. And also, maybe just something I haven't thought of that you would like to cover. So all comments, all engagement is welcome. So without further ado, let me just jump in and pull up a slide, and we will cover the major reasons why people seek out coaching. So for starters, imposter syndrome is one of the most common. I'm pretty sure it is active in every type of coaching. It's just imposter syndrome. It's you feel like you do not belong where you're at. For me personally, I do career coaching and leadership development coaching at the executive level. So oftentimes someone will get a promotion, or they might be a new leader for the first time, or they might be asked to take over a new group that has a certain type of personnel that has skills and knowledge that they're not familiar with. It could be a challenging situation with different types of direct reports. It can be a number of things, but it all leads back to the fact that they don't feel like they're in the right spot, or they don't feel like they're good enough to be in this particular position. Or if it's a new company that they started working for, they feel like they don't belong there. They're like an imposter. What am I doing here? This isn't where I should be. I don't feel comfortable here. This is one of the most common reasons that I come across people seeking out coaching. Next up, we have communication. So communication can cover a vast amount of issues. It could be trouble communicating with certain types of personnel, whether it's someone in a leadership position that has trouble communicating with their direct reports, maybe communicating with other leaders who might be their peers, or communicating upwards to maybe a board of directors or one of the few people that might be above them in terms of leadership. This could be for middle management or entry-level management or even non-management personnel altogether. It's just a matter of struggling to communicate what it is you want them to know. And them, it could be your coworkers, could be your peers. You want them to know something. You want them to know something about you. You're not understanding what's happening, and you simply have trouble communicating things. This can be very broad in itself, as I somewhat spoke to earlier, but communication it's a difficult one to nail down because it's almost always different with the type of coachee that you're working with. So it's definitely a highly requested area for reasons why people seek out coaching. Decision making. This is huge. So it can be a matter of reluctance to make a decision because your coachee may know, if I make this decision, this is going to happen, and they are uncomfortable about what's going to happen. Therefore, they're uncomfortable making that decision. That's just the first example that came to mind for me. So the higher up someone goes in a leadership position, the more difficult it is to make certain decisions because it's going to be felt more through the entire organization as a shockwave. It's going to impact more people. And oftentimes you can't really see everything that's going to happen. You can talk through it a lot of the time. And that's what really a lot of people that seek out coaching for decision making want to do. They want to understand the consequences of the decisions they make. And they would like someone who has the vantage point of a coach to help them see what they cannot see. Because oftentimes you make a decision thinking this will be great for the company, this will be great for the employees, this will be great for our customers. And then all of a sudden there's unintended consequences that you didn't foresee coming. So that's why decision making is a big one. Number 4, here we have performance. Now, this is the most disliked term in all of coaching. Performance coaching. People absolutely hate this word. They hate thinking of it that way. And I think it's because they see it as a negative, I need a coach to help me perform better. That's how coaching was perceived for a long time until we had some pioneers come along and really help reshape the coaching image. But performance has always been a really valid reason why people seek out coaching. So it could be a matter of, are you performing well in your position, or are you performing, in a way that people did not expect? So they want you to do better. So they get a coach for you to help you with your performance. Now it could be performance of the actual job tasks that you are expected to perform. It could be in a management position. Maybe you're not managing your direct reports very well, or you're not managing your expectations up to the next level of leadership as the way they would like you to. It could be you're in a leadership position and you go back to decision making or communication, and you're just not doing these things well. Therefore, your performance is seen as not acceptable. So, performance can be rather vague, but at the same time, it's because you're not doing something well and you want to change that. Oftentimes, when you're working with a coach, you get a chance to tell them what exactly is going on in your role. Sometimes you don't know the reason that you're not performing very well. You might think that you are. And then there's a blind spot there that the coach can help work with you on. Next, we have career direction. So this one's a little more specific to career coaching, but anytime you're ever working towards identifying a new direction to go in, it can be very difficult to actually work through. So specifically with career direction, people are in a position that they either don't want to be in anymore, or they want to move upwards, or maybe laterally, or they just want to move out of it altogether. So career direction could be, I think I want to move into leadership, but I'm not really sure how to go about doing this. I don't like the role that I'm in, so I want to try something new. And trying something new could be still in the same type of team, the same type of organization they work with, or they want to try something completely different and go in a completely different direction, which might need different types of training, maybe some retooling in education, different types of skills. So career direction can be tricky, but it seems to be a little easier to understand because there's not as many directions that you can go in with something maybe as vague as communication, decision making, and performance. Next up, we have conflict management. So this one gets rather interesting. Conflict management sort of bleeds into communication, but it tends to be a little more self focused. When people have come to me with conflict management in their coaching engagement, it's more about how they want to handle conflict, as they've either believed they didn't handle it as well as they would have liked in the past, and they want to be better equipped to handle it in the future. Many times, this comes in the form of discussing how conflict has happened, how they felt about the conflict while it was happening, and getting an understanding of what they really thought about their, I hate to use the word performance here, but how did they handle the conflict, and how do they want to handle it moving forward? So oftentimes it's, how do I manage these triggers that I have? Or why am I conflict avoidant? Or maybe I'm the other side of the spectrum and say, yeah, I really like conflict. So in a nutshell, that's what really people have come to me with conflict management. It can still be more broad than that. It can be something along the lines of, okay, if I'm in between two people that are having conflict in the workplace, how do I manage this? What would be the best role for me to take on? Oftentimes, this leads to very interesting action plans, and oftentimes this leads to very significant growth for them as well. So conflict management is always an interesting one. Next, we have promotion. So promotion is very closely related to career direction. Career direction is more about what is the path you want to take to get there. Promotion's a bit more specific. You're in a role that you either perform very well in, or that you like a lot, or you just want to do more. So oftentimes promotion is the next step. But this is where the workplace politics can come into play, and something along the lines of, well, I want to get promoted, but my supervisor, my managing director, my vice president, whoever you may work for, just doesn't talk to me about these things. Say, okay, that's fine, but have you asked about this? Do you know if there's a career direction for you in terms of promotion or any kind of career progression? Is there a lateral move that you could make to get to a promotion that you want? But oftentimes, this one is a bit more direct. It's about, I want to promote and I just don't know how to get there. And they want to work with a coach to understand, how do I make a plan to get from A to B? So this one could be a bit more direct and a bit more easier to understand because it's a little less open ended. But it does bring in the workplace politics and how their relationships with other people might play a role. But promotion. And speaking of relationships, we have relationship building. So this one is a bit more about, how do you actually build your relationships in the workplace? Are you networking? Are you open to networking? Are you reaching out to people? Are they reaching out to you? Are you building a relationship with your current manager? Have you met your boss's boss? Have you met any of the senior leaders? Are there gateway employees that perform work that you're not familiar with that you can build relationships with? So this one is it's a personal favorite of mine because I love to network. But relationship building, it is broad, but it also comes back to the fact that people simply want to strengthen their network within their workplace. This doesn't have to be just in the workplace. I just tend to focus on the workplace for career coaching and leadership development coaching. But relationship building around, how do I approach these people? How do I get more out of my team members, my teammates? How do I get more allies in the workplace? So this one can be fun. There's a lot of maneuvering that you can do. There's a lot of interesting dynamics that can take place. And oftentimes you end up meeting people that you did not even know worked in the company that you're at. And lastly, we have self-awareness. This is probably the most open-ended and difficult to understand of this list, but it is one of the most highly requested reasons as to why people seek out coaching. They simply want to know more about themselves, more self-awareness. Okay, how am I coming off to other people? How are they coming off to me? How do I interpret my interactions with people? Am I contributing to the team the way that I thought I would? Am I contributing to the company in the way that I thought I would? Am I actually the leader that I believe myself to be? Do people actually respond to me well because I have like a fair amount of self-awareness here, or because they like working with me, or is it because they just feel like they have to because I'm in a position of authority? So this can go in many different directions. It could be, people tend to be more conflict avoidant with me, and you don't know why that is. Or people like, people are always really ready to argue with me, and I'm not sure why that is. So that self-awareness can come and go in many different directions. But I like to cover this one because oftentimes when people are seeking out coaching for self-awareness, many times they don't even know it. It just happens to be a byproduct of a more direct situation that they're in. And it tends to manifest in self-awareness, and they want to learn more about that. Oftentimes, this is where an introduction to assessments can be helpful. If they don't know their strengths, they don't know their weaknesses, they've never heard feedback from people in maybe a 360 assessment. So self-awareness is definitely an interesting one. So there we have it. Those are the top 9 reasons that I wanted to cover why people seek out coaching. There are many, many more reasons. There's reasons that people seek out coaching that I haven't even encountered yet. If you've encountered something that I have not, if there's something on this list that you did not see that you really think I should cover, let me know in the comment section. I love to have engagement from other coaches and even people who are just interested in coaching. So let me know what you think. And I look forward to having more conversations with you. That concludes our video for today, and I'll see you in the next one.